Hello, hello, hello. Hello, and welcome back to everyone who's coming back. And welcome along if it's your first time here. So today we're going to be doing a Zwift recovery ride, which is led by a pro cyclist. Not got a lot of information about the event, but it's an hour long. So there's no set distance. It's ride for an hour at a certain pace. The pace is described as between 2 and 2.5 watts per kilogram. So I'm going to have to do anywhere about 180 to 200 watts on the big meter up in the top corner. Not expecting it to be massively sprinty and punchy, but we'll see. Don't know whether they're going to be using the fence that we've seen before, or whether it's just going to be naturally bunch up into groups as they set off. So there's quite a big number in the event today. 148 are here already. Interestingly, the pro cyclist isn't here yet, but they've got 24 seconds, so we'll see how it goes. Hello again, Adam. How are you doing? Have we fixed the audio issues that we saw before? Or is it still drowning out the spoken word? So something else worth mentioning. Today this event is on the Zwift London circuit. So as I've visited London maybe 3 or 4 times, I can act as your tour guide as well. It's relatively close to real life, probably. Thank you, Adam. I'm literally learning how to do this as we're doing it. So hopefully things work. Hopefully people can be moderately entertained. I also don't know how much of a delay there is between where I am on the live preview of what's going on and where the stream is. Not quite sure how you control that, but and so the London circuit does have a couple of bumps and rises, and I'm not quite sure what this area is. I think there was a fish market down here, but I can't remember what the area is called. And the other side, the buildings on the mirrored. The other side of those buildings is the River Thames. Oh, you don't need to go on an open top course, do you? That buzz might just be the big fan down there, because I can't ride without a fan, otherwise I melt. We'll see if we can find another audio filter to take that out for next time. As we're on for an hour today, it's the big mug. It's not Sports Direct size, but it's close. It looks like this is just going to be a ride where people get them together into groups of their own making. So we'll see how it goes. I think I've got myself into the, if not the very front, but into the second bunch today. And they'll sort of starts settling down in a bit to find a pace. I think this is the embankment. Today's tea. I don't train very well with coffee. Coffee tends to make comfort stops occur a bit too often. Just have a look on this map here. So, let's see if we can show that. From the map, on the phone, you can roughly see where the groups are, how hard you're going, and where you are on the circuit. This one being a recovery ride, not so important. Also, I know Adam's not as familiar with bike racing, but there's a method to deal with comfort breaks on an actual ride that I'm not allowed to do in the living room. Also, I get sick of cleaning the chain rings. I'm not quite sure why people are getting so excitable today. As we turn away from the Thames, this is a bit of a climb, so we'll see people slow down a bit. And then we turn right from what I remember. And then at Nelson's Column we turn right. And I think we go out to the out and back. And on the way back we pass through the 1 kilometre, the Flamme Rouge. There it is on the other side. In races using this circuit, that's a kilometre from the end of this circuit. Of course, being virtual cycling, nobody slowed down for the corner. In real life you would. I haven't done once. Ended badly. And that's very true. London roads are never this quiet. Then come back to somewhat. I'll make a rubbish tour guide. Then I believe we go through Admiralty Arch and down the Mall. Is it Mall? Mall. Mall. Part way down here is the London Sprint. So expect everyone to go bonkers. It's already starting to happen. So what I'm not going to do this time is pick up pace too much. Just hope to stay in the slipstream on the group. And get through the sprint without too much echo. The little thumbs next to the names. Better get used to the mirrored video. The little thumbs up next to the names was the option to give the rider a thumbs up, which is the thing that they call it a ride on. But yeah, there's a blue one. And that's the in-game sort of reward. And the riders in the list would have got those thumbs for most likely for setting a PB. And the little green jersey, who is now at the top of that list, is the person who set the sprint record in this event. Bouncing about an awful lot there. Here we go again, another right angle turn. Right angle, hairpin turn. In reality, you would slow down. We're going back down towards Buckingham Palace. Should be over the right hand side at this next corner. There'll probably be 3 and a bit loops of what we call the Greater London loop. I personally quite like this one. But everybody likes something different. Also, apologies for the dropping in frame rate on the game. I'm in a setup where the game itself is running on one laptop and it's streaming from another one. So it's significantly better than the first stream I attempted, which was a run about the Zwift, where the frame rate was near to half a frame a second. So I didn't work very well at all. Again, it's just a little climb here that tends to, a little slope that tends to slow people up. And for the benefit of Adam, that was the Picard manoeuvre with the jersey. Mainly because there's a little bit too much Christmas around here still. So hopefully we can get rid of that in the next few weeks. That's whatever that thing was. It's a rubbish tour guide. Oh, this circuit goes through Knightsbridge. I think it does. Better see how it's. I'll be sure to point it out long after we've gone past. Quite the recovery ride I was expecting. Work our way up on pack so we can have a little bit of a rest. No idea who that was who just shot off the front. He went a bit of a pace. I've almost certainly got myself into a group that's going a little quicker than I wanted to today. But we'll see. If it gets a bit much, I'll just drop off the back. Not quite yet, I hope, but drop off the back and wait for the next group through. Which is a fair way behind, actually. Sort of single rider dotted all over the road at the minute. And coming up on Wednesday morning, we're going to start the Tour de Zwift, which is an annual event. It's usually a few stages. I think last year was 5 or 6. This year it's 8. And last year I made a bit of a boo-boo because I didn't do most of the stages on the time when they ran. So I ended up having to do all of the rides in the last week when there's catch-ups, and that was a lot of work. So this year, I'm starting early on, doing the first ride, which this time I've chosen to do the longer ride, the Flat is Fun, which is 48 kilometres, 50 kilometres, something like that, twice around one of the routes into the France Zwift world. Now, they're quite fun. There's a couple of punchy little races in it, and the Zwift France world is the home to Mont Top, they call it. It's modelled on the classic climb of Mont Ventoux. And I've ridden that climb exactly twice, which is exactly 2 more times than any sane individual would do it. I think the first time took 2 3/4 hours, which is a terrible time, and goodness did I feel it. Second time was a little bit quicker, and I have no desire to do that climb again. As I said, I signed up for this event thinking it was a recovery ride, and it isn't. Never mind. Just hang in with this group for as long as you can. And when it gets a bit much, just drop it back. This is one of the good things about the Zwift ride. It might be virtual, but if you get a puncher or anything, you can just roll off the bike and you're already at home. And there's not a particularly high chance of having a big accident. Which, having ridden in groups this sort of size on the road, is a terrifyingly real prospect. One evening, on the country lanes around where we are, in a big group this size, we came head to head with a crop sprayer that was on the wrong side of the road on a country lane. And yeah, the lucky one of us hit his front tyre. Didn't mean to go that quick. I was relatively lucky. It ended up in the bush and nobody ran into me. But some of the other guys were quite badly hurt by that. This is one of the reasons why I tend to bike indoors. Thank you, Adam. I wasn't really paying attention. I was reliving the story of an accident. Oh, back here again. Yeah, rubbish tour guide. And here we go, back up to the sprint again. Let's just hope people don't go too bonkers down here. In terms of comedy stories for spraying, I think the only time I got sprayed by anything off the farm was actually quite lucky, because it was a really hot day and I really wasn't in the mood for the end of the ride. I was on the way home, again down the country lanes, and it's really hot. I'm not great with the heat. And there was a crop sprayer, irrigation sprayer, that was just coming over the hedge onto the road. So I pulled up and sat under that for a while. Soaking wet through, then set off and felt nice and cool the rest of the way home. So that's the only funny story I've got. Maybe the odd occasion of getting hit by somebody's comfort brake while they're on the move. That normally stays down in your legs, but still pretty grotty. This is actually turning out to be a lot harder than I thought it would be. I do think the grip's resting up a little bit, which is good. I've no idea what Zwift is written in. They said it's not Unity. They said it's something in-house. But it does have some crazy, wacky glitches every now and again. Like names bobbing up that from nowhere, and people suddenly flying over the other side of the road. I have to say it's a lot better than it was a year ago, but I've never yet quite got the hang of just sitting in a group. So this is a drafting system where you can sit in the group and drop your effort down a bit. I've never yet got the hang of it. So I end up getting spat off the front or dropped off the back. And once you dropped off the back, it's very hard to get back on. I think the little chirping that keeps coming through on the audio track is the bottom bracket on this bike, which needs replacing still. In truth, it's needed doing for about a year, but well, still on the list. It'll get done eventually. If anybody wants to know how to change one on one of these bikes, let me know and I'll film it and share how, not only not to do it, but how I've always done it. And spoiler alert, it needs a special tool. And I bought the tool I have for doing it from Park Tool, which is very good. They do make some good stuff, but they're a little bit like Snap-on of the bike world. They're quite expensive. So sometimes they're a good investment. Sometimes there's other tools that will do just as well. I think the only ones where I buy parts will tend to be the like the link splitter for the chain and the removable link remover. That's been worth its weight in gold. And the crank tool. And I accidentally bought the one for doing the middle chain ring. Don't tell the missus. Most of the other bike tools I've got are either the ones I use on cars tinkering, or they are cheapo Chinese ones. Although, when it comes to the taper square crank pullers, don't cheap out on those. I bought a cheap one off eBay, and it left the taper square on, still bonded, and just tore the thread out of the crank out. So, false economy there. I ended up just splitting the crank arm and replacing the lot. Which wasn't necessarily a bad thing, because at the time the bike shop had an offer on for the complete chain set on the with Holotech 2. So new bottom bracket, new crank arms, new chain rings. They came in about the same sort of price as the new bottom bracket with the taper square. So I am in trouble if she's watching. So I'm supposed to be doing the hoovering at the minute. It's also been said there's a correct formula. There's a formula for how many bikes a man should own, and that's n-1. And that's where the large N is the number that results in divorce. So true of many hobbies. Rob Elf Trianglia is one of the Trianglia legends. He's been level 50 on Zwift for about forever. And I've ridden with him several times in real life. Thoroughly nice guy. Last time I rode with him, he was out introducing a lot of people to road cycling, which was brilliant. I think people are starting to tire a little bit, I don't know. Might regret that. I know I certainly am. Apologies for how dark this video is today, because I haven't got any lights or anything. The only likes I've got Strode probably. So being in the UK, it being just before 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's nearly dark. Not nearly. I think unfortunately my legs are starting to say that's enough. I'm instructing them to move, it's just not doing it. We're having on the arch again. I'm hoping they don't go flackers down here. Most people seem to be just rolling now, which is good. That was the slowest sprint yet for me. I think the legs have decided they're done right now. another thing I'm yet to understand with Zwift is, even though all the people are rendered across the road, in absolute theory, everybody is behind each other. So it doesn't matter whether you're rendered on the inside or the outside of the corner, everybody's following the same exact route. But then, when drafting, there seems to be some suggestion that the position across the pack you're in benefits the draft. So, I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know. I might live to regret this, but it does feel like they're easing up a little bit. Just as we hit a slope. Turns out they haven't eased up. I think that's... the legs are shot today. We'll see. I don't know if we're going to hang on for the rest of it, but it doesn't feel very likely. For anybody who wants to give Zwift a go, get yourself a smart trainer. I'm not affiliated with them, They haven't paid me for this. It'd be nice if they did. My membership I've paid for myself. So, I can say what I like. But I thoroughly enjoy it. It's a great way to motivate yourself. Group rides often end up going a bit like this, where the effort's a lot higher than it's supposed to be. But part of the fun. There are event categories so that you can enter into an event that's suitable for your own ability. So you don't expect to have to enter an event and compete with a pro rider, because that just wouldn't be fun. But equally, Zwift does seem to have a bit of a problem with people entering either the wrong category or putting their weight as a lot lower than it actually is. Within the Zwift world, the on-road performance is calculated from your watts per kilogram. So your 50 kilogram rider putting out 200 watts is doing 4 watts per kilogram. They're going to go quicker than your 100 kilogram rider putting out 200 watts, who's going to be doing effectively 2 watts per kilogram. I don't know how on earth they could police that. I know they have tried. Certainly in some events there's anti-sandbagging, which is to disqualify people who are clearly beyond the ability of the event. I have seen in some of the Criterion races I did last year, some people getting the traffic cone of shame to basically ban them from the result. So if you entered at 2.5 watts a kilogram and then they're pulling 4 in the race, it's not fair on everyone. You want to be able to enter an event where you stand a chance, and then when you get better, you should want to go up the way, up into the higher racing, where you're going to get beaten, but you're going to have a bloody good race. So I think that's one of the problems that's always been present in Zwift. I know they've tried many ways. I know some of them have been imperfect, but if folks are honest about things, they generally have a good ride. But there's always someone that's got to do it. Don't know who they are, but I've entered many events where, in theory, should be a contender. This was at the time when I was towards the top of the power band for one category, but not quite into the next, and I was just getting absolutely mauled by riders in the event. I don't know why people have to enter, why they have to go down to win a race. It's not like you get sent a trophy or anything. If you rely on fake internet points for validation, that's a bit worrying in itself, isn't it? Anyway, we're pulling into the last sort of 6 minutes of this one. And I'm hoping to stay with this group, just cruise to the end. Where I think there's a bit of a climb coming up, so that might upset my legs. But yeah, that's my sort of rant about people entering the wrong categories. It's, you might win a race, but you might just ruin the enjoyment for somebody else. Really, it's all just about having fun. It's not. You're not going to get selected for the Olympics up here, are you? So just have fun. Maybe there's something wrong with me, but I actually prefer an event where there are better folks in it, because I might learn something. I'll certainly have to work for it. Anyway, back down off the ramp horse. High horse. Just going to be a bit careful here, because this is where I might blow off the back. As it climbs. Oh, that's it. Legs are gone. If I don't close this gap, we'll just sit down and chill out till the end. It's closing. That's it. I'm pooped. That's it, they're just gonna have to go now. Still very pleased, 40 kilometres in an hour. It's pretty good. 25 mile an hour average. I think the guys at the front sprinted to try and get one last run down the sprint in. I don't know if they'll make it. They probably will from here. I know that for me, my legs are just gone. Yeah, they will make one extra run down the sprint. I think we probably will. Just gonna have to roll down there. Oh, might be tight actually. See if we can get down there. It isn't going to be a quick time even if I make it. Yeah, we'll make it through, but only just. And then that'll bring this ride to an end. So, thank you for watching, thank you for tagging along. Oh, sorry, this is on time, not the... Oh, it's the finish line. But as I say, thank you for watching. Thank you for tagging along. Hope you enjoyed it. The next one is going to be on Wednesday morning, 10 o'clock. I'm going to be doing the stage 1 of the Tour de Zwift. So, let's see. Thank you. Hope you had fun. And we'll see you on the next one.